Hi everyone, Jared here, and we're going to take a look at Resistance Burning Skies for the PlayStation Vita. It's been a while since I've done one of these videos, so sorry about the long delay, but let's just jump right on in. Burning Skies is essentially a prequel to the other Resistance games. It takes place just as New York was being invaded by the Chimera. It's not developed by Insomniac Games. It's actually a new studio which I can't pronounce whatsoever. Unfortunately, it's more of a watered-down version of Resistance than what you're actually used to. But let's go ahead and list off the the great, the good, the bad, the ugly, and what have you. I think the best aspects of Burning Skies is that it actually shows that the Vita can handle a true console-like first-person shooter on the go, thanks to the twin sticks. This isn't exactly the ideal showcase, but it definitely shows a lot of promise moving forward. Now, a couple of other things that worked quite well. I enjoyed the cover mechanic, as you see in the video. I like that, where you can just automatically go up to almost any surface, and as long as you press the circle button, you're able to hide behind different cover. You can even strafe left and right to pop out of cover and take a few headshots and then pop back into cover. It works really well. There's also a really good amount and variety of weapons. They're not the most original. Most are actually from the rest of the series, like the Carbine, the Bullseye, and of course the much-loved Auger. There are secondary features to all of these weapons that you use the touchscreen for, and just touch controls in general are pretty strong. They do take a little bit of getting used to, but for the most part they work fairly well. Also really enjoyed the customization options that you have in the game. The way this works is you find this special blue orb type, well, more like blue cube, which you can use to enhance 2 of 6 available options for each of the weapons in the game. There's also a couple of interesting boss battles. There's not too many, but the few that are in the game work really well. Now, for the so-so, I'd have to say that the visual effects sometimes look outstanding, but other times look quite drab and repetitive, and this mainly is because you're almost all the time going through different buildings or caverns or caves and stuff like that, and it feels quite linear. It doesn't feel as open and as expansive as it was in the previous series, and you'll hear me say that constantly because the rest of the series is just outstanding. Now, I finished the entire game in about 4.5 to 5 hours, and there's very little incentive to go back and experience it all over again because the trophies are exceedingly simple. Basically, beating the game will net you all the trophies except for 1 or 2. There is a New Game Plus option which keeps all of your weapon enhancements, but again, there's just no real need. Why would you go back and play the game again? The online multiplayer is fun, but it's just not as deep as you'd expect for a modern first-person shooter. Up to 8 players can choose between 3 different gameplay modes. There's Deathmatch, Team Deathmatch, and a Survival mode. And of course, there's typical stuff like as you play, you gain different experience, which you can use to unlock new weapons and things like that. But outside of the private party voice chatting, there's really nothing else you can do, and it's very limited matchmaking. It feels old, if you know what I mean. Already mentioned the fact that the graphics are a hit and miss, but the soundtrack at least is very good. Unfortunately, there's very little in terms of audio, and the dialogue is all right. It's nothing special, but we'll get to that in just a sec. So, one of the biggest problems that I found with the game was the fact that the Chimera is seriously downgraded. The AI just is not there. Enemies won't flank you, they won't swarm around. Instead, it's like if there's, say, 4 people with you fighting in one open area, the enemies all but ignore anyone else and come straight to you. And the story, this goes back to the dialogue, is absolutely a huge disappointment. Because of the fact that the Chimera just invaded the US, you'd expect, just anarchy and all-out chaos, but instead you just get these barren wastelands of environments. Like, yeah, they might be semi-detailed and they look quite nice, but where are all the people? Where's the screaming? Where's, the hellfire and brimstone? Where is everything? It's just sort of like, it looks like the war has happened, and you're just sort of traversing through it. And I don't know, it was a really big disappointment to someone like me who was a huge fan of the rest of the series. So if you can find the game for relatively cheap, I'd suggest you go ahead and check it out, because there is some fun to be had here. But just don't expect the same sort of caliber or quality that you'd find in the rest of the Resistance series. This is a fun but rather generic first-person shooter, but it does show tremendous promise for what the PlayStation Vita will be able to do with this genre moving forward. Thanks for watching, everyone, and I'll be back with another video much sooner than it took me to get this one online. Take care, everyone.